On April 10th, 2026, 4 human beings were falling toward Earth at 32 times the speed of sound. The air in front of them was superheated to 5,000 degrees, hotter than the surface of the sun. Between them and that wall of plasma stood a heat shield NASA had never flown with humans on board. A heat shield that, 3 years earlier, had come back broken. NASA knew it was flawed. They knew exactly where it failed, and they knew that the fix had never been tested with a crew inside. This is the story of how NASA bet 4 lives on a patch. But to understand how close they came, you have to go back 50 years. The 4 people riding inside the Orion capsule had names: Reed Wiseman, the commander; Victor Glover, the pilot; Christina Cook, the first woman ever to travel past the moon; and Jeremy Hansen, the first non-American astronaut on a lunar mission. They had been gone for 10 days. They had traveled 252,000 miles from Earth, farther than any human beings have ever gone. And now, in 13 minutes, they would either land safely in the Pacific, or they would not. The reentry is the hardest part. A returning lunar spacecraft hits the atmosphere at more than 24,000 miles per hour. The friction turns the air around the capsule into plasma. The temperature outside the hull climbs to 5,000 degrees Fahrenheit. The only thing stopping that heat from reaching the crew is a disk of charred material on the bottom of the spacecraft, 16.5 feet wide, the largest heat shield ever flown on a crewed spacecraft. The material is called avcoat, and the problem with avcoat is that NASA had forgotten how to make it. When Apollo ended in 1972, NASA walked away from deep space. For the next 50 years, no human being left low Earth orbit. The space shuttle flew, the space station was built, but the specific craft of building a heat shield that could survive lunar return, the knowledge that lived inside the heads of the engineers who had done it, that knowledge walked out of NASA with every retirement, and no one was training replacements, because there was no mission to train them for. By the time NASA started the Constellation program in 2005, the gap was severe. Most of the engineers who had built the Apollo heat shields were dead. The factories that had manufactured avcoat had shut down. The original formula contained asbestos, which was legal in 1969 and a felony by 2005. Even if they wanted to build exactly what Apollo had used, they could not. They would have to rediscover it. Here is what nobody is saying out loud. NASA was not just building a new spacecraft. NASA was trying to remember how to do something humanity had done 12 times, half a century earlier, and then deliberately stopped doing. And they were doing it from incomplete records, with different materials, under different rules, with almost none of the original people still alive. The choice came in 2009. NASA had 2 finalists: avcoat, the Apollo material rebuilt from scratch, or pica, a newer material invented in the 1990s. Pica had every theoretical advantage. It was lighter, it was cheaper, it was easier to manufacture. SpaceX would later use a version of it on Dragon, the capsule that has now carried astronauts to the space station dozens of times. But NASA chose avcoat. The official reason was that avcoat had Apollo heritage. The unofficial reason was that no one wanted to be the NASA administrator who picked a new material, had it fail, and had to answer for why they did not use the one that had already worked. And here is where the story starts to turn. Apollo built its heat shield the hard way. They took a fiberglass honeycomb with 330,000 tiny cells, and a technician with a pressure gun filled every single cell by hand. It took more than 6 months per heat shield. It was slow, it was expensive, but it worked. Every Apollo capsule came home. NASA tried to build Orion the same way. And then, somewhere in the engineering meetings, someone made the decision that would almost kill the crew of Artemis 2. They decided to do it differently. Instead of filling a honeycomb by hand, they would cast avcot in large blocks, machine them to shape, bond them onto the capsule like tiles. 200 tiles instead of 300,000 tiny cells. It would be faster, it would be cheaper, and every tile could be inspected and certified before it went on the spacecraft. On paper, it was a better process. In practice, nobody knew that yet. The first uncrewed test of Orion flew in December of 2022. It was called Artemis 1. The mission was a success. The capsule flew past the moon, it came back, it splashed down in the Pacific. The astronauts that would have been inside, had there been any, would have survived. NASA called it a win. Then they opened the heat shield. Chunks were missing. Not small ones. Large gouges had been torn out of the avcot during reentry. More than 100 locations on the shield showed damage that nobody had predicted. The charred layer had not burned away smoothly. It had cracked and peeled, leaving a trail of debris in the capsule's wake. If Artemis 1 had flown with a crew, they would have been inches away from catastrophe. NASA later said they would have survived, but the margin was thin enough that nobody wanted to say it out loud. Watch what happens next. They had to figure out why. And the answer, when it came, was the most counterintuitive failure mode anyone had ever seen. The heat shield had not failed because it got too hot. The heat shield had failed because it did not get hot enough. Here is how an ablative heat shield is supposed to work. The material in front absorbs the heat. Chemical reactions inside release gas. That gas rushes out through tiny pores that form in a charred outer layer. The gas carries the heat away. The char layer is porous by design, like a sponge. It has to let the gas escape. But during Artemis 1, the spacecraft did something called a skip reentry. It hit the upper atmosphere, slowed down, skipped back out into space for several minutes, then came back down. During that skip, the heat shield cooled. The gas reactions slowed, but they did not stop. And the char layer on the surface did not fully form. Gas built up inside the material. Pressure climbed. With no pores to escape through, the gas found flaws in the avcot, cracked the material from the inside, and blew chunks off the surface. The heat shield had been designed for a problem it was too cool to solve. This is the part nobody tells you. NASA had tested this. At the ArcJet facility in California, they had simulated skip reentries for years. They had fired a 60-megawatt plasma stream at avcot samples over and over for more than a decade. Not once did the samples crack. Not once did they spall. The ground tests said everything was fine. But the ground tests ran at higher heating rates than the actual reentry. At high heat, the char layer forms fast. The pores open, the gas escapes. At lower heat, the same heat a returning spacecraft actually sees, the physics inverts. The char never forms properly. The gas has nowhere to go, and the heat shield tears itself apart. NASA had been testing the wrong conditions for 10 years. An independent review team was stood up, led by a former flight director named Paul Hill. He had run mission control during the return-to-flight missions after the Columbia disaster. The team spent 18 months tearing the heat shield apart. They removed 200 samples from the Artemis 1 shield and ran every one of them through the ArcJet, this time at the correct heat profile. This time, they saw the cracks form in real time. Now the engineers had a choice. Scrap the heat shield already built for Artemis 2, which would cost years and billions, or find a way to fly it anyway. The shield for Artemis 2 had been manufactured in 2019, years before anyone knew about the flaw. It was physically the same material that had broken on Artemis 1. If they flew it, they would be sending 4 astronauts into space behind a heat shield NASA knew had a fatal failure mode. So they did not change the heat shield. They changed the trajectory. Artemis 1 had skipped up to an altitude of 290,000 feet. For Artemis 2, the capsule would fly a shallower skip. It would stay in the atmosphere longer. It would keep the heat shield hot enough to form a proper char layer. The gas would escape. The pores would open. The shield would work, in theory, because NASA had changed the conditions to match what the ground tests had always simulated. They bet 4 lives on that theory. On April 1st, 2026, Artemis 2 launched. For 10 days, the crew orbited the moon, took pictures, ran experiments, recorded the farthest journey any human has ever made. And then, on April 10th, they pointed the capsule at Earth and began the 13 minutes of reentry that would tell NASA whether their theory was right. The capsule hit the atmosphere. It bled off speed. It skipped lower than Artemis 1 had skipped, but it still skipped. For several minutes, radio blackout cut it off from Earth. The heat shield went dark on every screen in Houston. Mission Control held its breath. Integrity, the capsule's name, splashed down 2.9 miles from the planned target, off the coast of San Diego, within 1 mile per hour of the predicted velocity. The crew was alive. The spacecraft was intact. And then, Navy divers went underwater to look at the shield. On April 22nd, 12 days later, NASA released its first inspection findings. The char loss was dramatically reduced compared to Artemis 1, both in quantity and in size. The fix had worked. The shield was still damaged. Pieces of it are now on a plane to Marshall Space Flight Center, where they will be X-rayed and sectioned over the summer to understand exactly how close the margin really was. But the pattern of failure that nearly ended the program was gone. The story is not over. Artemis 3 will carry a different heat shield, a new, more porous version of Avcot that lets gas escape even at low heating rates. That shield has never flown, and Artemis 3 is supposed to land on the moon, not just fly past it, which means the re-entry profile will be different again. A whole new set of conditions. A whole new chance for something nobody has anticipated to go wrong. Most people miss this part. For 50 years, NASA forgot how to bring astronauts home from the moon. Then they spent 20 years trying to remember. Then they got it wrong. Then they caught it. And then they bet 4 lives on a patch, and the patch held. If you want to know what happens when Artemis 3 attempts the first crewed lunar landing since 1972, the story of how the new heat shield gets qualified, and what could still go wrong, that video is next on the channel. Subscribe.